Well, hello there. I'm Jen Jackson, mother of 11 beautiful children. While my life is filled with wonder and adventure, it can sometimes be laced with confusion and what feels like chaos. Can you relate? My goal is to point out that while motherhood can have its challenges at times, it can also be beautiful and marvelous. As a mother, you have a superpower that cannot be duplicated. You are the true Captain Marvel. Let's talk about it. Welcome to episode 23 of Marvelous Motherhood with Mama Jen. Today, I'll be continuing my series of ages and stages of motherhood. Last time I talked about being pregnant and childbirth. Today, I want to talk about newborns and infants as a mother. With my experience with newborns and infants, we can understand that there are certain predictable milestones that our babies go through. Once they are born, one of the first skills they learn is how to breathe on their own. And then after that, they learn how to search for and latch onto their mother's breast for nourishment. Sometimes we take for granted just how marvelous and miraculous and beautiful that is. But did you know that the amniotic fluid in your body has a certain scent that stays on your newborn's hands? And as your newborn puts their hands near their faces, they can smell that scent. And they're drawn to that scent because they've been swimming in that scent for their whole lives. But when they come out the womb, a mother's breast, right in the areola and nipple area, has the same scent as your amniotic fluid, as their newborn hands. And babies can naturally work their way to their mother's nipple if they're uninterrupted. Meaning, after you give birth to a baby and you're lying on your back, and the baby, the infant, the newborn is placed on your belly, if you do nothing, that baby will inch its way up to your nipple and latch on all by him or herself. Fresh from the womb. It's called the newborn crawl. And in many cultures, it's encouraged during those first few moments of life to help that baby gain strength and autonomy. Even from newborn age. How beautiful is that? Nursing your baby breast to face is such a miraculous and beautiful time of bonding for a mother and child. Mothers are naturally bonded to their children during pregnancy. But when you give birth and you're nursing that baby, so much of the oxytocin hormone is released. And that hormone does so many things. Oxytocin has nicknames like the love hormone or the happy hormone. And it bonds you to that baby. It gives mothers all kinds of sensations. And one of those sensations is the overwhelming love they have for their baby. I spoke to other mothers, and I can say from my own experience that, especially with my first baby, I felt so overwhelmed with love for this baby that I felt like I was going to burst. And I thought, I want to have a lot more children, but I don't know if I can handle this much emotion at once, over and over again. Now, we know that oxytocin also physiologically helps the mother's uterus to shrink back to size. It helps the mother's physical body to close off those blood vessels that were linked from her body to the placenta. And it helps to heal the mother's body. It also helps milk production to come in. And the newborn gets that colostrum, which is great for their body and their immune system and their nourishment. So many wonderful things are happening within just the first few minutes of birth. But when you have newborns, God and His providence and His sovereignty made newborns have to sleep, and they sleep a lot. I believe this is God's way of helping mothers to ease into the new reality of taking care of a helpless little human life. And as you take care of your newborn, although they sleep a lot, you, mama, will not get very much sleep. And the best way to combat this lack of sleep is to first embrace it. If you need to mourn the fact that you don't sleep as well as you used to, that is okay. Take the time to be upset about it and mourn it. But then embrace it. Accept it. This is my life right now, temporarily. For these first few months or even the first few years, maybe 1 to 3 years, you may not be able to sleep through the entire night when you give birth to a baby. That's okay. It's normal. If you need to take naps throughout the day, if you're able to, do those things. If there are those who are coming to help you, let them help you. As long as they're helping you in a way that is helpful to you and that you need. When people come to offer you assistance, don't let somebody approach you with the beggars can't be choosers mentality and demand that you allow them to be in your space the way that they want to. You just had a baby. If someone's coming to help you, they must help you on your terms or just not come over. Because you need time to heal, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. When you give birth, it affects every aspect of your life. Mentally, spiritually, physically, every aspect. No one gets to come and enter into your space as a new mother and demand that you allow them to be in your space on their terms. That was a little bit of a tangent, but my point is giving birth and having a newborn takes a lot out of you as a mother, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, hormonally, every way possible you can think of. And you're going to go through different changes, and that is okay. An important thing I want everybody to think about when it comes to newborns is God has given women a sixth sense. I think all humans have this sixth sense, but women have a heightened sense of intuition. Mother's intuition isn't just a cliche, it is a real phenomenon. And women have this intuition with other things as well. We can tell when our partners are being unfaithful before we even find evidence because of that intuition. We can tell our children are upset because of that intuition, even if they don't say anything. We can tell when other people that we're talking to are not being completely honest with us or not as happy as they seem. Sometimes as women, we can see beyond the fake smiles because of our intuition. But mother's intuition is so much stronger, and it kicks in even stronger when you have your baby. You can tell when something isn't right with your baby, even if the doctors tell you that everything is okay. You can tell when something isn't quite right with your own body. I want all mothers, and I tell all mothers of newborns and infants to trust your intuition. If you think your child is okay and someone else thinks your child is not okay, your intuition is usually correct. If it's the opposite and you think your child is not okay and everyone else is saying your child is fine, usually your mother's intuition is what is correct. God has given us that intuition, and it helps ourselves, our children, and our families to thrive and survive. So don't ignore your intuition. Another tip with newborns is don't feel bad about cliches. If people say you should sleep when the baby sleeps, but when the baby's sleeping, you have things that you want to do. You want to clean up, you want to wash dishes, you want to take a shower. Don't feel bad that you didn't sleep when the baby sleeps because everyone keeps saying that to you. That is a cliche. Realistically, many mothers do not sleep right when the baby sleeps. If you are nursing the baby and you doze off with the baby, that is excellent. But if you because you need the mental clarity. If you have more peace with a clean house or a showered body and you rather do that while the baby's sleeping, then do that. Don't feel bad about it, okay? If your baby is wide awake and wants your attention, but you desperately do need sleep, you don't have to wait until the baby is sleeping, okay? If you have a newborn and you are just desperate for just at least a half hour to an hour of sleep, you just really, really need it, feed your baby some milk, give your baby a fresh diaper, and then lay your baby in a safe place like their crib or bassinet or pack and play. In a different room, not in the same room where you are. And then you go to a different room. You close that door where the baby is in. You go to a different room and you lay down and get the sleep you need. It will be better for you and your baby. It's okay if your baby is crying while you take that nap. Find a place in the house where you won't have to hear the crying because you have fed your baby, you have given your baby a fresh diaper, you have laid your baby down someplace safe, and you shut the door. That is okay. You are not a bad mother for going to get your needed sleep. Please hear me on this. If you are a mother or a father and you know you fed your baby and you gave your baby a fresh diaper and your baby just won't stop crying and is starting to drive you crazy, take your baby that is fed with a clean diaper on, lay that baby down in a safe place like crib, bassinet, pack and play, close the door, and just go to a different room of the house while you calm your nerves. That is also better for you and the baby. When I first became a mother and, I had to be forced to watch those shaken baby death syndrome videos that hospitals used to make us mothers watch, which they don't make mothers watch anymore, praise God, because those are very traumatic videos. But when I watched those videos, even from that, as a young mother, a new mother, I thought, who would shake their babies? And this is not to throw shame to anyone who's listened who has done that. But the reason why I had that thought was, if your baby is being that frustrating to you, this is a tiny helpless baby. They can't follow you around the house yelling in your ear. Put the baby down and go someplace else. That will be better for you and the baby. Letting the baby cry in a different room is safer than you being frustrated and getting angry at a crying baby. Put the baby down and get the rest you need, whether it's a physical rest or an emotional or mental, psychological, spiritual rest, whatever you need. Your baby will be fine if you leave the room for even if it's 2 whole hours. Your baby will survive, okay? I'm not saying put your baby down on the couch or in the crib and then go in your car and drive off somewhere for 2 days. I'm saying if you need a few minutes or even a few hours of rest, make sure your baby is fed, make sure your baby has a dry diaper, lay your baby in a safe place, close the door, and go someplace else to get the rest you need, whether it's physical with sleep, or emotional with just needing a break and some quiet time, or spiritual, you need to go somewhere to pray and read the Bible or call someone to talk to. Whatever it is you need, it is okay to do that. It is wise to do that. Okay? Now, babies with sleep patterns, often when they're newborns, they drink their milk, they fall asleep. They drink their milk, they poop and pee, they fall asleep. They're sleeping all day long, up to 20 hours a day, if not more, when they're newborns. And then little by little, as the months roll on, they have more and more hours of awake time. By the time they are 6 months to 9 months old, they are awake more during the day, but they're still taking about 3 to 4 naps a day. So your baby's still going to sleep a lot. By the time your baby is a year old, they're still taking more than 1 nap per day. Normally a morning nap and an afternoon nap, and sometimes a 3rd nap after dinner. That's completely normal. So look at the cues of your baby. Pay attention, follow your instincts, get the rest you need. Okay? Another thing is when you have a newborn or an infant, sometimes as a mother, you're so protective of your baby that you find yourself trying to protect your baby from their own father. You have a husband who's trying to be hands-on, trying to change a diaper, trying to give a bath, trying to make a bottle, and you're just like frazzled and critical of how your husband or your child's father is doing things. As long as you know your child's father is not abusive or crazy, let your child's father, your husband, take care of your baby in the way that he knows best. Let him change diapers his way. Let him give the baby milk in bottles his way. Let him dress the baby and play with the baby his way. You are both doing it right. Dad does not have to do it the same way mom does. I tell this advice to my doula clients all the time. You're both doing it right. Don't criticize each other on how you change diapers or give the baby milk or play with them or talk to them. Let your husband, the father of your child, your little baby, love on that baby his way. Please don't discourage him being hands-on with the baby. Because if you discourage him and he decides to listen to you and stay hands-off, then when you get overwhelmed and tired, you'll resent him for not helping out as much. So if your husband, if your child's father loves that baby, let him love that baby his own way. So those are some of my tips when it comes to having newborns and infants. Be aware that they sleep a lot, but they have less and less sleep time as they get older, but there'll still be plenty of sleep time to give you a break. If you want to do other things while your baby is sleeping, don't feel like you have to force yourself to lay down just because everyone is saying sleep while the baby sleeps. I've had 11 children. That's not realistic. If you find yourself needing a break, whether you need sleep or you need a mental rest or whatever it is, and you have your baby with you, don't feel bad about sending your baby and laying your baby down in a different room and closing the door and going someplace else to get the break you need, whether it's a nap or you just want to read a book or you want to do some chores or you want to talk on the phone or you want to pray, whatever it is. If you need a break, feed your baby, put the baby in a fresh diaper, lay your baby down in a safe place, close the door, and go get the break that you need. That is wise. That is wisdom. That is not selfishness or neglect. And my other tip was let the father of the baby love the baby in his own way. Don't be critical of how he does things to take care of your baby. So those are some of the tips I have based on my own experience and observations when it comes to newborns and infants. The challenges you may face are the emotional ups and downs because of the hormones, the lack of sleep, but you can still get it when you need it if you're creative enough. Sometimes women have trouble with nursing their baby. If you feel like nursing is too painful or too difficult and you want to give your baby formula, don't feel like you're a bad mom because you didn't breastfeed exclusively. You're still taking care of your baby and making sure your baby is well nourished. With that being said, I personally am a great advocate and preach breastfeeding till the cows come home, okay? Bad analogy, I suppose, but breastfeeding is wonderful and beautiful. But if you don't breastfeed, you're not a bad mom for not doing so. Accept help when you want it if people are offering it. But you don't have to feel guilted into that either, okay? Speak up for yourself and ask for help if you feel like you need to from trusted people. The blessings of having a newborn infant is the privilege of bringing a new, beautiful life into the world. And being able to see their cute little faces, their tiny noses and hands, the little newborn scrunch, their sounds, even their cries. My grandmother used to say, a crying baby is an alive baby. There's nothing wrong with that. Embrace the nursing, embrace the bond, look into your baby's eyes, kiss their hands and feet and faces all day long if you want to. Sniff that newborn baby's hair. Do you know that newborn scent is therapeutic? Keep on sniffing your baby. Have you ever noticed that when you have a baby or you hold somebody else's newborn baby, you can't help but sniff that baby? Whether you sniff their hands or sniff their neck or sniff their hair, there's a biological reason for that. It's therapeutic. That's a very unique smell that newborns have. All newborns have. So embrace the blessing of having that beautiful child, that beautiful new life in your household. Motherhood is marvelous because of the blessing that it is. So praise God for it. And what do you think, my fellow sister in motherhood? Leave a comment or send me an email, which is in the description. And don't forget to go on Amazon and check out our books. Special Delivery, Walk With Me, Jackson Family Short Stories. And have a marvelous day, Mama. You got this.